What's up, Disney dudes and dudettes? In this video, we'll be talking about canceled Disney villains we'll never get to see coming up. Now, it's no secret that Disney has a lot of abandoned Disney projects and Disney characters that they never got around to doing. But in this particular video, I wanted to focus on the Disney villains that were canceled. Yep, just like the beloved Disney princesses, there happens to be a lot of Disney canceled villains that would have drastically changed the movies that we all know and love. So in this video, I'm going to explore the reasons why they were canceled and almost give a what-if situation and what they would have looked like. So without further ado, let's get into it. So our first Disney villain is actually from the Lion King movie. Now you may be thinking, well, there's Scar, right? Well, originally there happened to have been another key villain that was actually the mastermind behind it all. Introducing Banagi, the prince of the hyenas. He appeared in two different drafts of the story. In both versions, Banagi is the master manipulator behind Scar. Scar, in this version of both stories, was actually just a strong rogue lion and is controlled by Banagi, either through threats or persuasion. Banagi and his hyenas personally kill Mufasa in one of the drafts, and then Banagi installs Scar as the puppet king while he rules from the shadows. The returning Simba must defeat both Scar and Banagi in this version of the story. Scar plays little role beyond brute strength in these drafts of the story, and Bangagi's most interesting traits were actually blended into the character of Scar later on. Banagi was actually in the first draft of the film, which was originally titled King of the Jungle, but was later revised to The Lion King in 1993. In this version of the story, Banagi was the true mastermind behind Mufasa's demise and was the leader of the pack of hyenas. In the movie, he would have actually lived in the Pride Lands during the reign of Mufasa, secretly desiring to overthrow him. And after a failed attempt at getting rid of Simba and Nala, Banagi convinces Scar that this is the way to be able to get rid of Mufasa once and for all. So that night, they plot to be able to do an ambush and are successful in doing so. Then, Simba runs off, and just like how we see in the movie, and then the hyenas would try to kill Simba, but were unsuccessful, just like in the movie. And just like in the movie, this would be a little bit different. Over the next year, Scar and Banagi would rule together with an iron fist, and would have the lionesses, hunt for more, just like in the film. And then, however, Banagi would be worrisome that Scar is taking all the power for himself, and then tries to devise a plan to overthrow him. In an epic battle, Simba and his allies would face Scar and Banagi and his hyenas in a final battle, which would conclude with Scar getting crushed by a dead branch. And after the battle, Banagi and his hyenas were banished by Simba away from the Pride Lands, never to be seen again. The studio was less than thrilled with the first draft, so they proceeded to do a revised second draft, which dates back to May 1990. The second revised draft was called King of the Beasts, and like in the first one, Banagi still acts as the true mastermind behind the takeover of the Pride Lands by manipulating Scar into accepting their help. In this second draft, Banagi was to be, much like in the first draft, the prince of his clan, and have as his second in command a ranking hyena. The meaning of Simba is completely different than the first draft. In this version, Simba would actually meet the hyenas and Banagi for the first time, while Banagi was intimidating a rogue hyena from joining them. Banagi, for some strange reason, would actually rescue Simba from an angry warthog who chases him. Feeling in debt for Banagi, Mufasa actually gives them something to eat in payment, and so which, they greatly enjoy, to say the least. However, Scar arrives and scars them. This actually leads to the confrontation of Mufasa and Scar, and so this actually shows Banagi that, Scar actually could be a key player. So that night, Banagi approaches Scar with the opportunity to join forces to overthrow Mufasa, which Scar obviously accepts. The next day, Banagi lies to Mufasa that Scar has kidnapped, one of his hyenas, and, release him if Mufasa fights him at the Fire Bridge tree. Mufasa does so, but realizes too late that he has been set up, getting, killed by Scar. While Simba tries to make them pay for their treason, he eventually runs away alongside Zazu, allowing, Scar and Banagi and his forces to take over the Pride Lands while believing Simba and Zazu to be dead. And just like in the movie, they would have the lionesses go hunt for them, but then Nala catches wind of their plan and runs to, meet, Simba and alert him of what is going on. And then the final showdown seems actually a little bit different. Nala then returns to Pride Rock and notifies Scar that Simba plans to fight him in the Fire Bridge tree without Banagi and the hyenas, and Scar accepts the challenge. And then Scar orders Banagi to escort Nala back to Pride Rock, where Nala and the lionesses have a little fight with the hyenas until Zazu calls them for the duel. Ultimately, Simba wins the duel and defeats Scar, and he actually kills him this version, which actually is a little bit, dark in my opinion. And so then after that, Banagi and his hyenas try to lunge at Simba, but they're unsuccessful, and he actually pushes them off a cliff. And so this actually, makes it kind of similar to what we see in the movie with Scar's demise, being thrown off a cliff. And so then Simba is accepted as their new king. Nevertheless, the second draft and, obviously the last draft of the King of the Jungle script was scrapped as well for being a little too violent, in my opinion, and I can definitely understand that. And also, it didn't have a lot of humor, if you can see. It was very much dark, kind of had a little bit of a Wakanda Forever, Black Panther vibe, with that whole duel kind of thing. Oh my goodness, it totally is like that. And then this was actually rewritten by Linda Wolverton, who actually did Beauty and the Beast and was well known for doing like classic animated films and scripts at the time. And so she actually ended up rewriting it to make it more comical with the hyenas of Shenzi, Benzai, and Ed, which then we later see in the film. So what if Disney actually had Bangai in the film? What would he look like? Well, here's a bit of concept art. Granted, I didn't do this concept art, but this is really some cool concept art that I found of what he would have looked like. So looking at the concept art, which is actually based off of the original, having Simba and Nala meet Bangai for the first time, you can start to see a lot of similarities. He actually looks a lot like, Benzai from the movie, although he's got like white fur and a couple of spots and things of that sort. I don't know about you guys. What would you think about, Bangai being in The Lion King? Do you think that you would have liked that, or would it have been a little too dark for you? Let me know in the comments below. Our next Disney villain on the list is Hera from Hercules. I know what you guys are probably thinking. Disney dude, Hera is actually Hercules' mom. Why would she be the villain? Hades is the villain. Well, that actually was going to be a lot different in the original script that you wouldn't expect. The original plans for the film would have actually been in line with that of the Greek mythology surrounding Hercules. In this tale, Zeus would have actually married a human woman in which he would have had Hercules. So Hercules would be actually part Olympian and part human. And Hera would actually be, Hercules' stepmother. And needless to say, she does everything that she could to get rid of him. And so this would have been completely different than what we see in the film. But because of the fact of the tone of how this would be affecting the movie and how it would align with Disney, they decided to go in a totally different direction and had Hades be the villain instead. But what if Disney actually went ahead and stayed with the original idea? How much would it affect the film, and would it actually be something worth memorable? Well, here's a bit of concept art that I did of what exactly Hera would look like. You could tell by the dark features and the piercing blue eyes, you could start to see a lot of sinister motivation in her, look overall. And I think that this would actually be very interesting because of the fact that, Disney has a track record of evil stepmothers, and having Hercules have one would actually be more in line with the concept. What do you guys think? Do you think that, Hercules should have had a stepmother instead of his mom being Hera? Let me know in the comments below. Next up on our list of canceled Disney villains is from Beauty and the Beast. Before Gaston was slated to be the main villain of the film, there were two other characters that had a deeper connection to Belle that you would not expect. In the original 1988 screenplay, Belle had two older, jealous sisters, and this was very reminiscent of that of Drusilla and Anastasia, except I would say they're probably far worse. In the 1988 screenplay, Belle had two older sisters who lived with her and their poor father, Maurice, at the cottage. Belle's sisters were extremely jealous of their younger sister, Belle, because she was constantly being admired by wealthy suitors because of her beauty, and they had no interest in the two of them. So one day, when Maurice tries to sell one of his inventions but gets lost in a storm and ends up at the Beast's castle, and the Beast then tries to sentence him to death, but allows him to return home for one night in order to bid farewell to his daughters. Whoa, that was dark. But it doesn't end there. Believe it or not, well, actually not, believe it or not, it's actually kind of sad. Belle's sisters simply don't care for their father's fate and conclude that Maurice is pretty much doomed. And so Belle is the one, just like in the movie, she volunteers to go to the castle in her father's place. And so because of the fact that the beast said, that he would spare him in case his daughter could take his place, at the castle. And so Maurice insists that she not do so, like in the film, but Belle sneaks out of the house and later on, during the night, goes to the beast's castle. And so over the next days, Belle enjoys her time on the castle and then ends up, developing a friendship with the beast. She misses her family so much so that the beast lets her go, just like how we see in the film. After being reunited with her father Maurice, she tells about the beast and his riches. And then Belle's sisters decide to get rid of the beast to take possession of his castle and his wealth, believing that Belle's suitors will surely want them if they are rich. They then pretend that they had missed Belle dearly to trick her into staying at the cottage, but proceed to tell the suitors about the beast and convince the three men to accompany them to the castle and kill the beast. They arrive at the castle and proceed to confront the beast and actually fatally wound him. And so during this time, Belle finally realizes what her sisters were up to and goes immediately to the castle to try and save the beast. And she, successfully does, like in the movie, by breaking the curse and him turning back into a human. But this is something very interesting that actually has a lot of similarities to the original tale. And that is the enchantress is actually in the book, actually in the original script rather, more than she is in the movie. In this part, after the curse is lifted from the beast, the enchantress appears, and then to punish Belle's sisters and alongside the suitors for their ill deeds, she punishes them and turns them into animals. So I wonder if that kind of happened with the wolves in the forest. Makes you wonder. Okay, so what if Disney actually kept this idea and had the two sisters be the antagonists in the film? Well, here's a bit of concept art of what they would have looked like. Now, I don't know about you, but the one with the black hair is definitely giving me Vanessa vibes. You can see like both of them are quite fair, but at the same time, they both have these green eyes that allude to the fact that they're up to no good. And so while they may look fair on the outside with the, brown hair and the black hair and just the overall features looking very pretty, you can definitely see their intent is not as, innocent as it seems. What do you guys think? Do you think that this would have been interesting if Belle had two older sisters and how that would have changed the entire film? Possibly Gaston would have probably still been alive. Let me know in the comments below. And last but not least on our list of canceled Disney villains is from that of the movie Aladdin. Robin Williams' Genie is without a doubt the best part of Aladdin, but the first original draft for the story contained twice the genie. Yeah, I'm serious. Originally, the Genie of the Lamp was going to have a counterpart called the Genie of the Ring. In the Disney script, Jafar would have wielded the power of the Genie of the Ring to use against Genie and that of Aladdin. But for some reason, this actually didn't take off the ground and actually kind of got lost in development. And so not much is known about what Disney would have done, but knowing the fact that this is based off of the, mythology surrounding Aladdin being a folk tale, here's a little bit of context as to what could have happened for the movie. In the original story of Aladdin, Aladdin possessed not only one, but both items containing the genie. He had at his disposal the Genie of the Lamp and the Genie of the Ring. The only big difference between the two is that the Genie of the Lamp was more powerful, and whatever wishes he granted couldn't be undone by the Genie of the Ring. I know it's a little complicated. What's really interesting, though, is that in the story, Aladdin is actually given the Genie of the Ring by Jafar to help him navigate to the Cave of Wonders to uncover the lamp containing the genie. And just like in the film, Jafar betrays him, and it's actually the Genie of the Lamp that actually helps Aladdin escape. So it seems like the Genie of the Lamp was actually, in Jafar's possession the majority of the time, and that the things that we see Robin Williams do was actually that of the Genie of the Ring. Now, in Disney's version, the Genie of the Ring was apparently going to be for the evil purposes of Jafar at some point, in sharp contrast to the role in the original story. However, the Genie of the Ring's role, as it was depicted in the original story, was taken over by Carpet, who does almost everything the Genie of the Ring did in the original story. So in the original tale, the Genie of the Ring was actually supposed to be like Robin Williams, but in Disney's version, he would have been the not alter ego, but the antagonist to that of Genie. But for some strange reason, reason, Disney went ahead and just changed this altogether and just had Jafar be the genie instead that we see in the film. So what if Disney actually went ahead and kept the Genie of the Ring? Would it have helped Jafar or would it have helped Aladdin? And what would the Genie of the Ring look like? Well, here's a bit of concept art of what the Genie of the Ring would look like. Now, I don't know about you, but this genie obviously looks like he is not messing around. He's a definitely large and imposing figure whose expression on his face means, like, you only get 3 wishes. That's it. Tough luck. But what do you guys think? Should Disney have kept the Genie of the Ring? And if so, what are your overall thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if there's any canceled Disney villains that you would have loved to see, I would love to know. Leave a comment down below, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified every Thursday when we have a new video. And as always, have a Disney day.